The first thing the men noticed was the silence. Not the peaceful kind, but the kind that hangs heavy after something terrible has already happened. The road stretched endlessly under a pale sky, empty and forgotten, until a small shape moved at the edge of his vision. When he stopped the car and stepped out, his breath caught in his chest. A tiny dog cub stood trembling on the cracked asphalt, its eyes wide and wet with fear, its little paws clasped together as if begging the world itself not to look away. Just a few feet behind the cub lay something that would change everything. Before the story goes any further, take a moment. If you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in the idea that even the smallest act of compassion can change a life, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Stories like this exist because people still care. The man's name was Daniel, and he had not planned to be on that road. He was driving back from a long, exhausting shift, his mind heavy with worries he had carried for years. Life had not been gentle with him lately. Loss had become a familiar companion, and disappointment followed him like a shadow. He had learned to keep his head down, to stop expecting miracles, to believe that the world rarely paused for pain. Yet there he stood, frozen in the middle of an empty road, facing a sight that cracked something open inside him. The dog cub was no more than a few weeks old, its fur soft and golden, now coated with dust. It did not bark or run away. Instead, it looked straight at Daniel with an intensity that felt almost human. The cub took a few uncertain steps forward, then turned its head and looked back, as if urging him to follow. That was when Daniel saw the larger dog lying on the road. An adult, battered by fate, its body still, its fur marked by struggle. The air felt colder in that moment, and Daniel understood that this was not just an accident. This was a plea. Daniel knelt down slowly, his heart pounding. He had seen hardship before, but something about this scene felt unbearable. The cub pressed closer to him, shaking, then turned again toward the motionless dog. It whimpered softly, not loudly enough to be heard from far away, but enough to pierce straight through Daniel's chest. The cub was not begging for itself. It was begging for its mother. For a moment, Daniel hesitated. He told himself the same excuses people always do. He was tired. He was late. He was not equipped to handle this. He didn't know what to do. But the cub's eyes never left his face. They were filled with trust that had no right to exist in such a cruel moment. And that trust broke him. He reached out and gently checked the adult dog, his hands shaking as he searched for any sign of life. There was a faint warmth, a fragile breath barely clinging to existence. Hope flickered. Daniel moved quickly, wrapping the dog in his jacket, lifting her with more care than he thought he was capable of. The cub pressed against him, refusing to be left behind, as if its entire world depended on this one stranger's decision. The drive to the nearest animal clinic felt endless. Every bump in the road made Daniel wince. He kept glancing at the cub, who sat silently, eyes fixed on its mother, as though watching over her with a vigilance far beyond its age. That silence was heavier than any cry. It carried fear, hope, and a desperate belief that this man would not abandon them. At the clinic, time blurred. The staff rushed the dog away, and Daniel was left standing in a cold waiting area with the cub in his arms. That was when the weight of the moment finally settled on him. He realized how close he had come to driving past, to never knowing this story, to letting this small family disappear without a trace. The thought made his chest ache. Hours passed. Daniel sat there, unmoving, his fingers gently stroking the cub's head. He thought about his own life, about the times he had begged silently for help and felt ignored. About how pain teaches you to expect nothing. Yet here he was, hoping with everything he had for a dog he had met less than an hour ago. When the veterinarian finally approached, Daniel braced himself for the worst. The news was uncertain but not hopeless. The dog had survived serious trauma, but she was alive. She would need time, care, and rest. Daniel felt his knees weaken with relief. The cub stirred in his arms, as if sensing the shift in the air, and let out a tiny sound that felt like gratitude. Days turned into weeks. Daniel visited the clinic every chance he got. He learned that the mother dog had likely been wandering the road searching for food, protecting her cub in a world that offered little mercy. The cub never left her side, curling up against her as she healed, its small body a constant reminder of why survival mattered. Something changed in Daniel during that time. The routine of visits, the quiet moments watching life slowly return to the dog's tired eyes, began to heal parts of him he didn't realize were broken. He started bringing food, blankets, small toys. He spoke softly to them, not expecting understanding, yet feeling heard in a way he hadn't felt in years. When the time came for the dogs to leave the clinic, Daniel faced a decision that terrified him more than he expected. He could walk away, knowing he had done enough, or he could take responsibility for what fate had placed in his path. The cub's eyes made the choice for him. They still held that same trust, now stronger, deeper, unshakable. Bringing them home was not easy. The mother dog was cautious, protective, still learning that safety was real. The cub explored everything with clumsy enthusiasm, its fear slowly replaced by curiosity. There were challenges, sleepless nights, moments of doubt. But there was also laughter, warmth, and a sense of purpose Daniel had been missing for a long time. Neighbors noticed the change in him. The man who once kept to himself now walked the dogs every morning, his posture lighter, his face softer. He learned patience from the mother dog, who never stopped watching over her cub, even when she was exhausted. He learned joy from the cub, who found wonder in the simplest things, as if celebrating the miracle of being alive. Months later, Daniel stood on that same road again, not by chance this time, but by choice. He wanted to remember. He wanted to honor the moment that had altered his life's direction. The road looked ordinary now, almost harmless, but he knew better. He knew what had been lost there, and what had been saved. The unbelievable part was not just that the dogs survived. It was how they saved him too. In rescuing them, Daniel rediscovered empathy, courage, and the belief that kindness still mattered. He realized that sometimes, help does not come from grand gestures, but from stopping when the world tells you to keep going. The cub grew strong, its fur shining, its steps confident. The mother dog regained her strength, her eyes no longer filled with fear but with calm assurance. Together, they became a symbol of resilience, not just to Daniel, but to everyone who heard their story. If this story has touched your heart, if it reminded you of the power of compassion and the beauty of choosing kindness even when it's inconvenient, please take a moment now to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel. Your engagement helps these stories reach others who might be waiting for a sign not to give up. And before this story ends, I ask you one special thing. Leave a comment below. It can be a single word, a thought, or a promise to be kinder tomorrow. Let your voice be part of this moment. Because somewhere, on a quiet road or in a silent room, someone or something may be begging for help, just like that tiny dog cub once did. And the unbelievable may be waiting to happen through you.